Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My video today is all about staying motivated after having a baby. Now this is, as usual, just my personal opinion. It's what I've gone through, what I'm going through, and maybe I would change the title to trying to stay motivated and the things that I feel help me every day. I have what I call win days and fail days. Some days I feel like I really did well, and some days I'm like, you know what, today was a fail, we'll start again tomorrow. And I feel like having that approach to motherhood has really helped me, because when I put my all into something, I'm quite perfectionist, and I put too much pressure on certain things. And becoming a mother has taught me, and actually owning a business has taught me, that some things are way out of your control, and you can literally only take things one day at a time. You can have an overall plan, but through hard work and persistence, you can get to the stage that you want to get to one way or another. And that's more applied to motherhood, and being an entrepreneur fused together has really challenged me, and I thought I'll just give you insight on it. And so a little bit of background for my pregnancy. I had one day where I felt really sick, but I think that was due to food poisoning. But apart from that, everything was quite smooth sailing in terms of my health. We had a heat wave in 2018 in London, and it was boiling, and I hated it. And I was in my third trimester when the heat wave was at its peak. So I would say we had really great weather from April all the way down to September, and the latter months were just too much. And anyone that's been pregnant obviously will know that you're really uncomfortable at the end of your pregnancy, but if you've got a heat wave added to that, it's just too much. If you're in your early stage of pregnancy, it's probably better, but at the later stage, I was anemic, very anemic by the end of my pregnancy, and I ended up having to have an iron infusion. So I was very lethargic. The doctors were just like, look, you need to lay off work, you need to not go back to work. And I was just like, I'm still working until I'm 39 weeks pregnant, okay? I'm gonna start working at 39 weeks, and we need to make this work, because I'm not ready to leave yet. So I worked for a very long time. I had altogether 9 weeks off. That was my maternity. I had 9 weeks maternity leave from work. My baby came at 42 weeks and was over 15 days overdue, and I think that's it. That's the bulk of, and also I had a C-section. So those are the core things that you need to know about my pregnancy. So when I'm talking about what I'm talking about, you can kind of relate back to what I'm saying now. So I don't really regret anything that I did during my pregnancy. I don't regret anything that I did postpartum either, but I have learned there's certain things that I've done this time round that next time, unless I can't do them, I will implement them, or I would take more time. And one of the things that I definitely would try to do next time is take more time to rest. My health is so important to me that there are certain things that I'm not willing to sacrifice anymore, just so I can make the masses happy. I'm more about making sure that I'm 100% so I can give 100%. So because of that mentality now, I would take a little bit more time off work. So like I said, I went back to work 6 weeks postpartum, which means that my maternity leave was just under 10 weeks. I went back to work at 9.5 weeks, and that included me taking time before the baby was born and getting ready for him. And then right after, I went back to work on the day he turned 6 weeks. It was getting slowly back into myself. I would say that I probably feel like I'm kind of getting there probably from about a month ago, and that's when I've just gotten into the swing of being a mum. So I feel like I went when I was so fresh that it felt I felt overwhelmed, and then I had to go back to something that was familiar so that I could feel like I was in control again. And that's one of the reasons why I went back so quickly, because like the breastfeeding, the people telling me what to do, the people telling me what to eat, the people telling me basically how to behave, was a lot for me. And I'm so used to doing things myself, and it was just all quite overwhelming for me. And I just needed to get back to something that was familiar, something that I knew inside and out, something that I was comfortable with. I needed to get back to that, because that was the only part of my life I felt that I could control. And once I got that back, I started to feel like myself again. And I felt like working through that helped me to become a better mum for him. And it also gave me some of the joy that I once had like a year ago, and made me feel much happier and much more at ease with being a mum, because I felt like, right, I'm working, I'm doing this, I can definitely look after my baby, I can definitely do the things that I set out to do. So one of the things that I definitely would do differently is give myself a little bit more time to rest. I would at least give myself 3 months before going back to work, if my business would allow me to. But I don't think I would take more than that, unless something, I don't think I would take more than that, just for the simple fact that I'm just like, I need to be back at work, and that's just how I am. And I know loads of entrepreneurs who went back to work very, very quickly. I speak to people who went back to work 6 weeks postpartum. Some went back 4 weeks postpartum. Some go back at 2 months. Some go back at 3 months. It depends what you do. It depends on what you do. It depends on how many people are in your business helping you with your business. Because if I had like 5 stylists at the salon, I would have taken more time. I would have. But I did feel like I had to go back to work. So that was one of the reasons why I went back. Like, for me personally, being an African girl, I'm sure you guys can relate. When I had a C-section, I had my baby, I was told very, very, very frankly that I wasn't to do too much, apart from literally breastfeed, look after the baby, but basically things like cooking, cleaning, anything I wasn't supposed to do. And that's just part of my culture. My culture, I think it's 30 or 40 days. You're supposed to take like 30 days where you don't do anything, so that your body can heal itself, and you can avoid any pains and aches that you may get later on because you didn't look after yourself. I wasn't supposed to be drinking anything cold. I'm supposed to be drinking like warm stuff. Like I was just supposed to be on this very, very tight ship. And obviously, like, my mum is my treasure. I love her to bits, but she can be so overwhelming, especially when she wants the best for you. So she was like, no, you don't eat that, no, you don't eat this. And a lot of the things I agreed with, but it just felt like I went straight from being free to do whatever I wanted to being almost like a teenager who was told, you have to go to your room and stay confined. It took me a minute, like a good 2.5 to 3 weeks to get used to it, because it kind of broke me down a little bit, because I felt so overwhelmed and I didn't want to be told what to do. I was kind of fighting it for the beginning part, but I think all it took was communication. So I really just communicated to her that, you know what, I really want to feel like I'm in control, even if I'm not. I really need your help, but I don't want to be told what to do like I'm a child, because as you can see, I have a child, and I want your help, but not if it's going to come with me feeling down because I'm not able to do some of the things that I want to do. So once I had like that communication, it really, really helped. Like, I wanted her to almost be on standby, and if she saw that I was failing at something, just to help me, because I said, like, once she went back to her normal daily life and I was left to my devices, I wouldn't be able to cope, because you've been doing everything for me, and everyone's been doing everything for me. So when So I'm gonna almost feel very sheltered, and as soon as reality hits, which is when everyone goes back to work and everyone's doing whatever they're doing, I'm gonna be at a loss, and I really don't want to have that feeling. So kind of wean me in week by week so I'm able to do stuff. And then obviously if I feel like I can't do it, then please help me. Explain without offending that I really need to feel like myself, and I really wanted the opinions, but they were just that, opinions. I had my way that I wanted to learn to do things, and I just wanted guidance rather than being told that what I'm doing was right or wrong, or do you know what I mean? It just felt a bit like much at times, but after communicating I felt so much better. And now me and my mum, we have like an even more like amazing relationship, because it was almost like we had to learn each other again a little bit in that period of time, and it literally was like a period of 2 weeks. A lot of the cultural things I completely accepted, but I just wanted to also feel like I was in control, because I have been in control for so many years in my life, and I haven't needed like an adult like that it just felt very compressing in some ways, if you know what I mean. So definitely I would say like take opinions, but ignore the massive noise around you. Like follow your own instincts when it comes to your baby. You'll know your baby. The bond that you have with your baby, the bond that your baby, like between you and your partner and your baby, you'll figure it out. And the thing about being a mum is you'll get a lot of things wrong, but you'll get so many things right. The whole nap when he naps is a myth. Like I couldn't get down with that, because whenever he napped I could rest, but I couldn't nap, because when you have a newborn, all they do is eat, sleep, poo, stare at the sky, eat, sleep, poo, stare at you, eat, sleep, poo. Lots of wee in between, but they don't make noises like that. They're just very, 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 very still. They don't do much. They don't do what they do when they're 4 months. They just came fresh out the womb. They don't know what's going on. They just want to be fed. They're kind of traumatized that they're out, so they just want to chill, you know. They have this weak little cry, like they don't know what's going on. So this whole eat, sleep, nap, I couldn't do it. So what I did instead is I very much rested. I rested. Rather than like being up and down and doing certain things, I very much rested. One of the things that I found to be an excellent help was that I seasoned a lot of my food, maybe when he was having one of his naps, and then I froze the food. And I got my mum to do this for me as well. She would season food and freeze it for me, because I like my food to be fresh, and then I would take it out and put it in the oven when I was like in the morning, when I knew what I wanted to kind of eat. So that really helped in terms of, it took out the labor of having to season food or think of what I'm doing. So I had loads of like chicken, fish that were in the freezer waiting to be cooked when I was ready. So that was something that I really recommend for anyone that's kind of thinking, oh, what am I going to do? And it helped for when I went back to work as well. And it helps now that I'm in the full swing of work, and some days I just do not have time to cook and prep and all of this stuff. So making sure that I do a bulk shopping in the beginning of the month, or whenever I do a bulk shopping, and seasoning the majority of the food and freezing it allows me to, you know, create some sort of time for myself. I think I've just gone off way of the subject, but yeah, napping when he naps is never going to work for me. But it is time. It is that little time that you get when he can sleep, if your baby does sleep, is really essential for you to, you know, have a shower, do the things that you like doing, etc. Let your body heal naturally is something that I took into consideration maybe all of a month and a half ago. When I first had the baby, I was very, very happy to let my body just settle into itself. So breastfeeding helped tremendously. I might stick some pictures of my postpartum, like 2 weeks after having the baby, like what my belly looked like at first. obviously when you first give birth, your belly is quite big, and then it kind of reduces a little bit, and then it reduces a little bit, and you can feel the contractions as well when you're giving the breast milk, and then it reduces a little bit more, and then you're just kind of left with this nice little fupa. I was left with two, because you have what I had, the where the incision was, so where my scar was, that was swelled up, and then I had the fupa from the belly, so I had like a double fupa, and I tied wrapper. That's what I was told to do, so that's what I did, and it actually really helped, like, flatten my stomach a little bit. Obviously, because I sat down a lot to breastfeed, it was a bit uncomfortable, but I did tie a wrapper on my stomach to kind of help with my belly, like me sucking it in and stuff like that. So that was excellent. And now I'm just left with a little bit of a, but I'm kind of comfortable with it, you know. I'm kind of loving the extra love handle, but I'm just letting my body heal. I tried to go to the gym, not even to the gym, I tried to do a big workout a month ago when I was 3 months, because I thought my body had fully healed, and the pain that I was in the next day, I realised that I needed more time, because when you have a C-section, it's a major surgery, so I don't think my body is 100% back to what it was. So I do light exercises, like I do light yoga, I do light sit-ups, light stretches, just to keep, you know, my body going, but I don't do the most. As soon as you can, take time for yourself. I did that probably, I want to say 3 weeks after having the baby. Baba. Yeah, I did. I took time for myself. So I just left him at home with my mum for like 2.5 hours. I went and got my nails done. I went and got my feet done, and that was like part one. And then I think the next day maybe, I went to the shop and I just said, cut my hair off back to how it was pre-baby, because during my pregnancy, there was like about 3 or 4 months I wore a wig, and then I had my hair in like a short bobby, sort of like outgrown bob, and then I cut it, but by then my face was just, it was spreading, like nothing worked, like it wasn't looking the way it looks now. I dropped 10 pounds right after he was born, and my face was just, it just widened the last 2 weeks. So having a pixie cut at that point was not my best decision. It wasn't my best look. So I decided to kind of have a rest. And then after having that rest, 3 weeks postpartum, I went and I got my hair back cut into, well, you saw the cut. It's like this, but it was a bit longer. And I just, as soon as I left the hair, I was like, oh, I feel so good. It felt so good to just be back in terms of like, facially. There's nothing I could do about my body, there's nothing I could do about not fitting into my clothes, but I could definitely do something about my looks. So once I did that, that gave me such a high. But yeah, I just was able to no longer wear a headscarf at home. That made me feel like I was in some sort of a prison. So I really enjoyed the fact that I could just look like me again, you know. So another thing that I did that I felt really helped me was I tried to do at least one thing that I like doing prior to having a baby, at least once a week. So I kind of have this agreement with T's dad that at least once a week, both of us just have some time to do something that we do. For me personally, because I'm with the baby 5 days out of the week, because I work for 2 days, for me it was going back to work. So like for me it's going back to work, and then apart from that it's doing things like going to the cinema, date night, going to brunch with friends. But like I said, I have a baby that's quite easygoing, so going out with him is not such a hard job, and I drive a little bit, so it's easier to maneuver around with him. It's easier to meet friends. It's easy to go and see. It's easier. It's a lot more different than when I just pick myself up and go. But it's definitely easier that I can travel around with him and still feel like I can do the things that I was doing +1. So he's now just like my +1 wherever I go. I try to take him wherever I go so I don't miss out on any moments with him. But if I can't, then I find a babysitter. Most of the time it's my mum. I've got an extended amount of people that I can hand him over to. It's a very big village. So in that sense, I feel very, 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 very lucky. Another thing that I'm going to say that I might people might come for me, but I'm going to say it anyway. Breastfeeding is not for everyone. And by that, I mean that for some people, it is a stress. For some, not everyone is able to breastfeed. One of my best friends wasn't able to breastfeed, and I remember her feeling very, very down about it. I remember her, you know, kicking herself about it. And once she got out of that mindset, she was fine. Her baby's fine. You know, of course, every mother wants to do what's best for her baby, but if you can't make your body do what it can't do, and I gave him the bottle the same day he was born. So I gave him a bit of a bottle, but he was, I would say, 90% breastfed. So he was 90% breastfed, but because I just had a C-section and I was just so tired, I used to give him like one bottle during the day, just so someone else could almost like do the night feed. So like it would either be once during the day or once during the night, so I can get at least 4 hours worth of sleep, and then I would breastfeed the rest of the day. And then slowly, because I knew I was going back to work, I expressed and I mixed with bottles. So he was always both bottle fed and breastfed, but mostly breastfed. And I just found breastfeeding to be like so draining. Like I felt so much pressure, and I don't know why I felt pressure, because no one was really pressurizing me. But even now, some people are like, yeah, I hope you're still breastfeeding. It's just like, look, breastfeeding is a lot. And he was feeding like every hour on. I was a hungry baby boy, so he was feeding all the time. So I always felt like I didn't have enough milk, and that was something that I had to speak to like a breastfeeding expert. I mean, just to help with my breastfeeding, I did take some fenugreek, and that was excellent. It really worked well for me. I took the fenugreek and it helped me express loads into a bottle. But once I got back to work, it was very hard for me to keep up with the express and to keep up with his feed. So I just switched it to night feeds, and then he started being bottle fed through the day. So, you know, for me, once I got my head around breastfeeding, I found it very, 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 I wouldn't say easy, but manageable. And then it became a little bit tedious, and then like I just went through so many emotions. But one message that I would like to get across is that breastfeeding may not be for everyone, and it also may not be for your baby. You know, so some people breastfeed solely, and I commend that, and some people breastfeed through bottle, so expressing, which is what I mainly did as well, because I felt like I could see how much milk he was getting, and that was what I preferred. I preferred that method better than giving him the breast all the time. So bottle feed, breastfeed was my go. And also, you don't have to breastfeed, you know, for a year to be a good mom. You can be a good mom even if you don't breastfeed. If for some reason your body or you can't breastfeed your baby, it's not the end of the world. Your baby will still be a healthy baby, you know. So that's definitely something that I had to, you know, get used to myself. And then breastfeeding became a bit more like a bit lighter and a bit more of a better experience for me and my baby. Try and do the things that you used to do. It's much easier said than done. Like I said, for me, I went back to doing a lot of the activities that I was doing before, but I waited till I was about 3 months postpartum to do that. Before that, I was maybe doing it, I just concentrated mainly on going back to work, because that was already such a big step. But now that I'm like, in the last month or so, I've been going to visit friends, I've been going to see my mum by myself, I've been doing things, I've been going shopping with him, I've been doing stuff, which is why I say he's my plus one, because I can take him to birthdays, I can take him out to dinners with friends. Like I can actually do those things with him and feel quite at ease, and just make sure that he's, you know, all ready and packed to go. And getting him ready in the morning is a breeze now. But obviously we have some mornings where things just don't go as it's supposed to go, you know. But you know, that's like the life of having a baby. Some days are unpredictable, but most of the time I'm able to get him and myself ready in about an hour and a half. To give anyone any advice, I would say take it day by day. Like, you're a G and your baby does not rule you, you rule your baby. But yeah, for me, I just had to take everything day by day. I had to learn. I'm learning, should I say, to be me again with a +1. I'm learning, and I know now. Sorry. I know now that every stage is a different stage, and you kind of just have to readjust. And it gets easier. The adjustment gets easier once you're in the swing of things. Sometimes it takes you a minute, but when I say it takes you a minute, depending on your baby, might take you 2-3 days, might take you a week, might take you a month, but you will get through it. And if you try and keep elements of yourself and try and keep yourself as healthy as possible, you'll be the best possible mother. And I feel like that's what I've learned, that I cannot be a good anything. I can't be a good hairdresser, can't be a good salon owner, can't be a good mom if I'm not okay. So making sure that I'm nurtured is the #1 factor that helps with me having the baby. So yes, I hope I have helped in some way with this video. I don't even know if my videos help. Let me know your stories if you can. I love hearing other people's stories and what they've learned. I am not the best speaker, but I do love to chat on these videos. So sometimes I'm like, I ramble a lot and I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, but I'm hoping that it does. And I'm hoping that someone out there hears this and doesn't get discouraged. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye.